Welcome to the Changing Sales Game podcast on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. And as always, I'm honored that you're joining me this week. So every week as you tune in, I'm really on a mission to change that word sales from something that's icky, sleazy, and manipulative to really coming from that place of love, care, and respect. And to help you with that, because it's all about communication with other humans, I have a free gift for you. To get your communication style assessment, you'll get a report showing your amazing superpowers, and you're also going to get a report on your blind spot. I think that sometimes is even more important. So go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA and get your free communication style assessment, my free gift to you. So my motivational quote today is by the amazing Walt Disney. And Walt says, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." Now, I've been hosting a podcast for over 9 years. Yes, dinosaur days. Dinosaurs were roaming back then. And during that time, I've been introduced to some of the most amazing people and authors out there. I've interviewed Dave Pelzer, who was the author of A Child Called It, James Clear, the author of The Atomic Habit, and the list goes on. Now, being a podcast host has really opened many doors for me and allowing me to become more active with various speaking platforms over the last few years. Now, being visible and being seen as an authority is just critical for business growth and business success, especially since we're doing more things like this, which is that virtual versus live. So how do you find these opportunities, these speaking opportunities? And really, that's a great question. So of course, I have an expert for you who's going to share some just remarkable, valuable insights and strategies to get you to be seen and heard. Now, my guest is Jackie Lapin. Now, Jackie helps leaders, authors, coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs connect with new followers from around the globe. She's an expert at aiding you to get booked using strategies, guidance, and leads through her Speakertunity programs. Now, in that program, she includes tip sheets, regional and niche specialty directories, getting change makers booked for speaking engagements, radio shows, podcasts, virtual summits, TEDx events, and virtual networking across North America. Speakertunity is the ultimate speaker's toolbox. So please help me welcome Jackie to the show. She's amazing, and this is her zone of genius, peeps. So Jackie, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Connie. And I think with everything that's going on in the world today, if you're not speaking, you're really missing the point. And when we're talking about speaking, we're talking about multiple platforms. It's not just live and virtual stages these days. Speaking is also radio shows and podcasts. Speaking is also virtual summits. Speaking is TEDx. All of these are marketing opportunities that if you are not doing them, you are leaving money on the table. So I want to talk about all of them and how you get on them to be visible, because visibility is the key to getting the new clients that are going to transform your business. If you're sitting on the sidelines, your business is probably going to be stale. But if you're out speaking, you're going to be creating a steady flow of new clients. So I want to talk about each of those different platforms today.
I just want to comment really quickly, and it goes back to my Walt Disney quote, right? Stop being on the sidelines. You got to do something differently to create a different result, right? Definition of insanity. Additionally, what you just said is important because I think doing the speaking builds the like, know, trust, and remember factor where you become memorable, because now you're not just a written copy. There's this live energy behind you that becomes very memorable. So first question is, what should one do to start building a calendar of these speaking opportunities?
Well, the first thing you need to do is you have to commit the time to it. Because, if you say, I'm going to get to it sometime this week, I guarantee you, as busy as we all are, that is not going to happen. So you actually have to make an appointment with yourself. Put 3 hours a week, every week, into your calendar to focus on getting booked. And when you do that, you're going to see a transformation in your ability to get booked. You've got to commit that time. That is the first and foremost thing you need to do.
Yeah, where we focus, that's where magic starts to happen, but you have to have attention on it. Can you give us some sample ways or examples to find maybe local engagements? And I guess that would be more live than virtual, or both.
Well, so if you're looking to get booked locally, which frankly, locals love locals, is really a great resource, place to start. And keep in mind, you're still even talking virtual and live locally because a lot of people are not back in a room. So there are several places that you can start looking for these. One of which is Google. Yes, I know people say, well, it's just Google, but trust me, we have 170,000 speaking opportunities in our Speakertunity database that's parsed by your region, 75 regional directories, or parsed by your specialty, 60. All of that is done strictly by going to Google. And so you want to put in the kinds of keywords that you need for the kinds of opportunity you want, whether that's business networking or spiritual centers or parenting or whatever it is, plus your marketplace. So you want to identify the kind of meeting that you want, and then your marketplace, whatever the city is that you're looking for, and then go into those places and find out who the coordinator is for each of those meetings. So that's the first. Now, Meetup is another great resource because not only do they have just Meetup specific meetings, but a lot of the organizations that have been long established, either in room, or some kind of a physical, are using Meetup as a way to attract new people. So you are going to find in Meetup, you can sort by either region or you can sort by your specialty of interest. And you can then also register and it will send you meetings in your genre. The last one is that Eventbrite. You think of Eventbrite as one-off meetings, they have started doing a lot of recurring meetings. So if you go in there and you find meetings that appear to be recurring, then you can reach out to the coordinator and say, look, do you have an opportunity for speaking? So those are 3 great ways to find local speaking gigs. And of course, we have a great resource in Speakertunity that we've identified 75 individual markets. And we go, and in those individual markets, we find all of the speaking gigs in business, which is 75, which is divided into 55 industries, ethnicities, and gender. Then, so if you just want women's business meetings, or entrepreneurs, or real estate, or healthcare, and then all the service groups. So even if you're in Canada, we've got the kin clubs, and Rotary is here, and the Seroptimus, and then all the places you touch the consumer, moms groups, parenting, seniors, health and wellness support group, people that are suffering, military, LGBT, and then things like libraries and bookstores. So if you're on a book tour, and then the last thing is spiritual. So it's Unity, Centers for Spiritual and Faith-Based. So if you really want to saturate a market and you cross those various lines, that would be great for you.
How long have you been doing this, Jackie? Because you have a tremendous database that is a great one-stop shop for anybody listening, but they were just great tips that someone could kind of Google if they're thinking, do I want to do this? How long have you been doing this?
So we started 5 years ago with Speakertunity Speaker Leads, which is an individual product, which gives you kind of a smorgasbord of speaking gigs all over North America, but it's really for a transformational leader. That one product is not for a business leader. And it has, all kinds of different things, local meetings, conferences, spiritual centers, TEDx's, retreats, everything in one. And so, but it keeps coming. We've got people on that product for over 5 years. It's only $35 a month. That's the blessing of it. But, and then we added our radio, our Radio Insider, which is 40 podcasts and radio shows every month in the life enhancing space. And then Speakertunity Summits, it gives you virtual summits that are looking for guest presenters, and also giveaways that are looking for partners, so you can build your opt-in list, you qualify for more summits. So those are our legacy product. But then we realized that people wanted more regional, and and they wanted more business, and that's how we created cities. And then in the pandemic, we realized, well, everything has gone virtual. If you want to speak all across the country just in your specialty, why don't we just aggregate that information? And so now we have a product called Speakertunity Specialties, where we give you 60 individual different specialties. So if you just want to talk to authors or coaches or women, business owners, or parenting and seniors, whatever your niche is, we've got 60 of them. And that's so crazy.
And in building every day, right, Jackie? It just,
right.
And it's funny. I would think the more you speak, the more speaking opportunities find you.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, once COVID hit, I had done everything locally live. It was live. And now all of a sudden I was meeting on network and they're like, oh my God, you got to come and talk at my summit. And then somebody would hear me on the summit and then I would get an email. Hey, I saw you at Jackie's summit. Can you come and speak over here? So it just builds that whole momentum of getting exposure, right? It's all about the exposure.
Well, and when you're talking about national organizations too, when you speak at one chapter, now you have the entree to all the other chapters, which is one of the part of the ideas behind specialties. You want all of the meetings in a group called L, or all of the meetings in BNI, or whatever it might be, although that's more specialized, but different kinds of organizations that really invite speakers. So we've identified all of them in your genre, because once you're on one, now you got the opportunity to say, well, I was on yours. Can you also open up the door in your chapter? So
absolutely. Reciprocity, right? We got to build it and help each other grow. Now, you mentioned the word conference. So that one I think is a little more difficult than the local stuff, right? How do we find those conferences and again, get the traction there, or the availability to be offered to come on?
So if you're looking for your own conferences right now, there's a group called Events in America that have conferences at least 6 months out, and you can sort them by region or by subject, or kind of overall category. If you just want consumer events, if you would want health and wellness, or if you want manufacturing or whatever, it'll let you sort that. There's also, if you're looking for associations, there's an organization called the Directory of Associations, which will tell you all the associations in your state or in your subject matter, and you can sort that way. But I'm going to give you a little hint. Come April, we're going to have a great resource that are going to be able for you to source all of the conferences in your specialty.
Wow.
So stay tuned. Go to the bottom of the page at Speakertunity, put your name in. We'll let you know when that is ready. But I'm really happy to say that cities and specialties are what we're launching right now. Nobody has ever done that. And one of the things we realize is a lot of people, they look at these cities and specialties, which have thousands of speaking gigs in them. Your regional directory has anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000. Your specialty directory can have anywhere from 200 to 7,000, depending on what your specialty is. We broke that down. So if you're so overwhelmed with it, you can just buy your region. You just want East, West, Midwest, South, or Canada, and it'll narrow down the sizing. But we realized even then it's really scary for people to think, I don't have the time to do this. So we developed a strategic partnership with an organization called Book For You Virtual Assistants.
Cool.
And this organization will take your directory from us, and you will have a meeting with them together. You'll get your rep name and the manager. Three of you will sit and figure out what in your list do you want to go after? Do you have a speaker one sheet? We should talk about that in a minute.
Yes, I was going to ask you that.
And then you're going to get weekly reports of what's going on. And then monthly, you have a meeting to get back together and say, okay, what's working? What's not working? What do we need to tweak? What looks like good possibilities. So it's not kind of throwing it into, the osmosis. You hire them. You can hire them for 20 hours a month, 40 hours a month, or 80 hours a month. But it is a constantly monitored process. So
with COVID, listen, COVID was bad, people died. I am not minimizing that at all. It's tragic, right? The whole thing is awful. But on the flip side, these opportunities for speaking has become exponential for everyone. I speak a lot. I think half of my clients are Canadian, which is so funny, right? Because I'm here in New Jersey, in the United States. So your reiteration and expansion, I think, must be crazy for the past 2 years, because being in that space, you all of a sudden had to see that opportunity explode. And then just to come to the marketplace with all of these things. Have you slept in the past 2 years, Jackie?
No, madam, we have not. And here's what we ended up doing. We started looking around and saying, well, what are we missing that needs to happen? And because it was sort of a quiet time, so that's when we went to the 75 directories and the 60. But we also added a product called the Radio Insider for Business. So if you just want 40 B2B shows every month, that's going to give that to you. Then we also added the speaker sheet. So now you can pick from template, pick colors, and then fill in the form, and we'll get your speaker one sheet back to you in no time. We added training courses. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just briefly, talk about the importance of having a one sheet to, number one, when you are invited to be on a stage or whatever it is, that one sheet is impactful because who's ever hosting it, they need the information fast and easy. So talk about the importance of the one sheet.
Well, the first thing is it's a marketing sheet. So when you're pitching yourself and you include it with your proposal letter, first of all, you can't pack your proposal letter with everything.
That's right.
So this is what you attach, and it gives you a full bio. It gives you some testimonials. And on the backside, it gives you the 3 presentations that you give them a choice of, because if you only have one arrow in your quiver, it better be a bullseye.
That's right.
The more choice you have, the more likely it is that people are going to pick you. So, so it's a showcase. It's beautiful. It makes you look like a real pro. And it also gives them some more information when they are presenting you to the audience as well. And it gives them, you're going to define what those are, those speaking, is, and they'll use that to promote you. Come see this person. This is what they're going to be speaking on. So you don't have to leave it to them to decide what to write. You've given them the information.
Yeah. The easier you can make it for, if you're going to be on a podcast or a stage of speaking, you want to make it so easy that they come back to you because they're like, you're the most efficient person I've worked with. I want you back next time I have an event or a summit or whatever it is. So you really want to make it easy for the person who's handling the admin stuff.
And there's a new tool out there that people should be aware of. When you're pitching yourself to podcasts and radio shows, you can use a full-on pitch letter, and we have a training program on how to write that pitch letter. Or you can use a podcast introductory sheet, which is like a speaker sheet, only it's 1 page instead of 2. And it lists the topics that you speak on, your bio, a couple of testimonials, and the topics you speak on. And so you can either use that in lieu of a pitch letter, or you attach it to the pitch letter like you do the one speaker sheet to your proposal. So it makes it look, again, it's slick, it's easy, and it gives the host an ability to say, oh, I want to talk on that topic, or I want to talk on all 3 of these or all 5 of these topics. So it levels up your ability to look sharp when you're going to podcasters.
And think about that, Jackie, too. If I have 3 things and I end up being a great guest for whatever that platform is, now they come back and they go, you had these other 2 topics. You present really well. We've gotten some real good feedback about you. I'd love for you to come back and talk about those other 2 things. But if you don't have it, they don't know that. They think you're a one and done. You're limiting your opportunity. They're looking at you. They're speaking with you. Let them know, hey, there's more I can do for you as well. So that's just a beautiful, beautiful tool. How do you get on other people's stages? Like there's a lot of summits happening now because of the virtual, situation. How do we get on other people's stages too?
Well, let's talk about summits in particular. So first of all, almost all summits are going to have an intake form. Yes. Or they're going to ask you for your information. So you should have what I call a mini media kit prepared. And that basically summarizes in 3 paragraphs your bio, and then another 3 paragraphs, the title and name of your presentation. And then another should be the title of your freebie, and then a description of that, and then your social media. All that goes on 2 pages. That's it. Now, when you go to do the summit applications, you're copy paste. Or if somebody says, send me your information, you send the entire mini media kit. But if you want to find out where those summits are, well, that's what we do. On the very first day of every month, we send you a complete list of summits that you can submit yourself to. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're planning a summit and you want to get guests and you want to make it easier on yourself, and this includes giveaways, get to me. There's an intake page at Speakertunity called speakertunity.com/submissions. We will put it in the issue. I just need it a week before the end of the month so that we can include it and we can get you more clients. And then if you want to be on those, then of course, then you want to subscribe to summits. It's a great resource for
Yeah, you did that for me, Jackie. My last giveaway, I happened to speak to Jackie. It was literally like a week before, and she's like, "Get it to me today." And so, because I had everything prepared because I do speak a lot, I was able to send it to Jackie to get in that newsletter and to build some traction. I'm telling you, she is the one-stop shop. It's freaking remarkable. All the pieces of the puzzle that you really have made it easy. And I think, it's funny because the newbies, meaning that you're like, I want to do it. I don't know what to do. Definitely you need to have a conversation with Jackie and use some of the resources. But the funny thing too, Jackie, is seasoned people, right, are connected with you because it's constantly evolving and growing, and new summits and new chapters and new things are constantly being added. And you're in the know because that's your zone of genius and that's your business. So you really are a one-stop shop. Talk to me. So I love the summits, right? And getting on, and again, letting them know multiple things you could talk about so that, because by the way, people who run summits run multiple summits, everyone. So you want to be on their short list as well. And you want to leverage every opportunity to its max that you can. Talk about the radio shows and do you mean radio shows or podcasts when we talk about radio shows? I'm curious.
I talk about all of them. When we do anything, the other thing is we do a radio podcast tour done for you under my Conscious Media Relations brand that introduces authors and leaders to 9,000 radio shows and podcasts at the same time. And in that, we include radio shows, podcasts, internet radio, and satellite. We cover it all. And we have a minimum guarantee of 30 interviews. And we've been doing that for 12 years. And we do them for people like Don Miguel Ruiz, Ariel Ford, James Twyman, Joe Vitale, Chris and Janet Atwood, Maureen St. Germain, real luminaries in the personal growth space. And if you go to the website, you're going to find 80 amazing testimonials that say we over deliver, I'm happy to say. But we make sure that people are, come away with a maximum impact. And so, that's one of the reasons why we can repurpose a lot of our contacts from that into our product, Radio Insider. So, we just, when you're going out there, you can do it yourself. You can hire a VA, you can have us do it, but there are over 1 million podcasts out there, and you really need to be taking advantage of it. You just need to make sure that you're really in your sweet spot of the right kinds of podcasts for you.
Yeah, they have to be where your people are going. Otherwise, you're blowing into the wind, right, so to speak, where nobody's going to hear your message because you're in the wrong platform. Now, the virtual summits, why do you, and not just virtual summits, I think all of these speaking opportunities, why is it important for a leader or an expert to really cultivate the skill, but to get on as many as they can that are in alignment with what their messaging is? But why is it important for leaders now to really use this venue?
Well, the first thing is internet marketing is changing dramatically, and you're about to lose your ability to track who's saying yes and who's saying no. It's going to make it really hard to do anything. And so the one sure thing is speaking. Because, if you are going to be out there and as you said, to increase that know, like, and trust factor, in person, there is nothing like in person. And when I say in person, I'm talking virtually as well, where people see you, they get a sense of your authenticity, they get a sense of your knowledge, they get a sense of the fact that you are heart-based, you care about them, you are generous with your information, they get a sense that, oh, she knows what she's doing. They can take me to the next level. All of those things are things that can't be duplicated online or even in a video series. I mean, it's that live in person, let's get connected kind of, I'm here to serve, that really impacts people. So, it cannot be overlooked, whichever platform that you're on. And I tell people that if you're still a little unsure about speaking live or virtually, go get on podcasts. It's the fastest way to get up to speed and get comfortable. So when you're doing a speaking gig a little bit later, I used to say, in my last book, I did 100 interviews. By the time I did that, I was so good on stage because I just took what I was doing on the radio shows and podcasts and reinterpreting it for the stage. I was so confident. I knew exactly where I was going because I'd done it so damn many times. So use that as a starting place.
Yeah, it's a muscle memory thing, right, Jackie? It's just the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it just becomes second nature, like tying your shoe or breathing, because you go into your zone, right? You get into your zone because that you know what you're going to talk about because you're the expert on whatever that topic is. So you should be able to talk to it easily.
Well, and if you have any discomfort, then get yourself a good speaker coach. There are gazillions of them out there, and that's going to help you get comfortable on stage, or going to help you figure out your signature speech, or they're going to help you with your presentation skills. You know, there are great coaches out there that will get you to the point of feeling confident on stage and really able and willing to present. Another thing is, you know, especially for your audience, which is, you know, really sort of more of a business audience, one of the stages that you should be looking at is the corporate marketplace. And it's not an easy environment to get into. And we've actually got a training program on how to get booked in the corporate marketplace. That is a $386 billion marketplace annually. You know, even if you think your skills are a little soft for the corporate marketplace, since the pandemic, those organizations are thinking we have to be more sensitive to where our employees are, and they're open to the kinds of topics that are not hard business that they were once only exclusively providing. They're listen to all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, my people are corporate people, Jackie, that I've been in corporate training for and business, advice, if you will, in building cultures, corporate cultures for 20 years. And so that's one of the things I teach as well. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because the soft skills, I just had a client, been with them for 5 years, and they reached out, it's budget season, right? And they reached out and said, we need somebody for leadership, which is more of a soft skill. Sales is a soft skills, communication, but leadership, it's less tangible. So I recommended a colleague, and then they said, we need someone with writing and, emails and business letters. And I have a colleague who brought in. So the corporate space, they're looking for a lot more of the soft skills, the emotional intelligence, especially on the leadership side. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I agree with that 100%.
And a lot of it's health oriented and mental
yes,
and resiliency and all those kinds of things that, heretofore were always considered out there and woo-woo. They realize that they've got a workforce that's under incredible strain and stress. And they're breaking in many ways that they've never seen them break any longer. And they're looking for solutions that aren't traditional.
Absolutely. So yeah, there's a tremendous opportunity there as well. Here's the thing. If you're unsure of your topic and your sales isn't so great and all of the pieces that Jackie and I are talking about, you don't want to start in corporate. No, because that could be very daunting. But yeah, the opportunities, I agree, are there 100%. We're almost out of time. So here's the bottom line, everybody listening. The easiest way to find whatever the opportunity or platform you find the most comfortable, if you're a newbie, or if you're an expert in this, where you're speaking a lot and you want to amp it up for the 2022 season, I really think Jackie's the way to go. Now, Jackie, I know you have a couple of free things for people as well. Can you share that? Because this is very generous of you. And that's why I love you, because you really do. Your platform is amazing, but you're so generous in a lot of the free resources that you have for everybody. So can you share that, please?
Connie, thank you. I really appreciate it. So let's say that you get on some of these stages, and some of them, either they don't let you sell from stage, or you have an opportunity to sell from stage and get people into your community. You want to have a free gift to give them. However, if you think it's just an ebook or it's just a free consultation, you are behind the times. There are 44 different ways to seduce people into your opt-in list. So this is called 44 Ways to Seduce Your Next Client from Stages, podcasts, radio shows, virtual summits, and virtual networking. And Connie will give you the links to that in the show notes. That is item number one. Item number two, would you like to try out some of our great resources for a month free?
Wonderful.
I'm going to give you a month in all of our subscription services, SpeakerTunity, Speaker Leads, 126 leads every single month, all over North America. That includes Canada. All radio, SpeakerTunity Radio Insider, which gives you 40 podcast radio shows and video casts every month that are in the life enhancing space.
Nice.
SpeakerTunity Radio Insider for Business. It gives you 40 podcast radio shows and video cases in the business to business space.
Love
And
it.
SpeakerTunity Summits that we've been talking about, that gives you the virtual summits and the giveaways looking for partners. 1 month, try it out, see if you like it. You can opt out, you can try them all, you can try one, you'll get a notice before 30 days that say either stick around and you'll continue to get this, or opt out at any time.
Wonderful.
And we won't bother you anymore. But
That's wonderful.
But I have to tell you, we've got 400 people in those products. So I'm thinking and hoping you're going to stick around.
I love it. And I, it's important. I do think that people need to try things out sometimes, because let's face it, Jackie, in the digital space now, there's so much noise, and you just don't know what to trust and believe. So that free trial, like, proof is in the pudding, right? Test me out. You don't like me? Hey, it's cool. We part friends, right? But if I really am adding value and this is what you're looking for, then and the other thing too, I love, Jackie, with that 30-day free trial. So thank you for that, for giving that to my peeps out there. But they could get familiar with the platform, so that all of a sudden you're spending money and it's like, oh, it's going to take me 15 days for me to get used to this platform. Now they have 30 days to try it out, to see if it's a fit for them. And then also to practice and play with it before that they start actually putting money out of their pocket. So thank you for that. If you still have questions, please reach out to Jackie. She really just is a wealth of it. The time I talked to her, I hung up and I was like, there was so much information in our conversation. She definitely over delivers. Please email her and have a chat. It's Jackie@speakertunity.com. By the way, Jackie, I love SpeakerTunity. It's got like just such a fun ring and energy to it, right? So SpeakerTunity.com, Jackie@speakertunity.com. Please reach out to her, ask your questions, sign up for the free stuff. Thank you, my friend, for being on and being so generous, and just so much information. Here's my tip, guys. Please go back and listen to this. Jackie gave you, in the middle of, yes, her own resources and all the robustness that she has in there, she also just gave you some wonderful tips locally as well as, globally, for summits and stuff, and resources out there for you to Google. Man, when you have a question, what do? You Google it. And that was her first recommendation.
Well, one more thing. I have a great YouTube channel for SpeakerTunity that's got lots of tutorials. So go over there and take advantage of them.
Oh, that's fabulous, Jackie. Thank you. I didn't realize that. See, I'm glad to know this, because some of my clients, they're trying to break in and do different things, and we're trying to craft what their message is. And that's a great resource too, because I think if they could practice using the YouTube and the resources and stuff, that helps build their confidence as well before they jump in to say, okay, I'm ready to speak. We got to walk before we run. And I feel like you're from soup to nuts. Like you have it all going on your platform. Again, if you're unsure where to go, just reach out to Jackie directly, Jackie@speakertunity.com. Again, put it in the show notes. I don't want you guys worrying about that. Jackie, thank you so much for being she's fast paced, man. And I love that, because we get more information in a short period of time. Go back and listen to the show multiple times. Trust me, you'll pick up different things each time. Jackie, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate all of that great information and what you're doing out there. You're making it easy for us.
Thank you, Connie. It's a joy to be here. And all I'm going to tell you is, don't hide your light under a bushel. The world needs what you have.
I thank you. Amen, sister. I agree with that 100%. Thank you again, Jackie, for being on. And thank you all for joining me. And I do hope you join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together that no matter where you are in your business and in your life, my guests and I really hope that the topics and strategies and ideas and tips just help you move the needle on whatever that next adventure is for you. Thank you again for tuning in to Changing the Sales Game with me, your host, Connie Whitman on webtalkradio.net. I wish you all just an inspired week of doing something, application of a new skill, of a tip. Go and investigate Google, investigate Speakertunity, talk to Jackie, all of the above. Action creates a reaction, which creates growth in your business and growth in your life. So please do that. Do not, like Jackie said, don't hide your light, shine it brightly. Let's change the world together. I'm truly honored to have you tune into the show weekly. And I hope that you always find value with the content of my guests like today with Jackie. So thank you all. Thank you, Jackie. And have a great week, everybody. See you next week. Bye.